How do you balance between a relationship and a career? This is a common question that many women have asked me, especially those who are ambitious, driven, and purpose led. These are women who do not want to sacrifice one for the other, but want to be able to experience both. And this question is actually really important because for most of your life, you may have felt like if you were to have a relationship, then you have to give up your career. You may feel like you have to let go of every other pursuits that you have in your life. And maybe you have even done that in the past where you give all your heart and your soul into a relationship, but then it turned out to not work anymore. You guys broke up, and then you feel like you have to start everything from square one, like when it comes to your career as well, because you have lost your motivation or you have lost that seriousness in terms of your career, right? You may have experienced it yourself. And at the same time, you may have seen other women out there. Maybe they are really successful in their businesses or their career, but you have seen families, you have seen people, and maybe they were even patterns of your parents where they put in all their time and effort into a career and they don't have time for their family, for your relationships. And it's like you have to pick either one or the other. And in fact, that is also what I used to think that relationships would look like. I thought that I have to select one or the other. And also because grew up in a childhood environment where my dad was only focused in his career and had no time for relationships. So I totally understand that part of you that feels like if you were to be successful in one realm, you cannot have the other. You have to sacrifice the other. But the truth, my love, is that what we are dispelling here today is that the truth is that you actually can have both. In fact, when you are successful in your relationship, when you have a peaceful, healthy relationship or a love life, you're actually more likely to excel in your career. You can transfer the skills from one area of your life can lead to excelling in the other area of your life too, and vice versa. If you are successful and have manage how to be successful in your career, you can also deploy these skills in terms of your relationships too. And in this video, we're talking about how we do that. And I also wanted to speak this because I used to think that it has to be one or the other. And in my past relationships, like with my exes, it was either one. Anytime I'm putting into the relationship, I would feel guilty about not studying enough or not doing enough for my career, and I felt like I have to give time for either one or the other. And however, fast forward, when now that I've learned how to balance both in terms of my love life, in terms of my marriage, I actually learned how to maintain this. My husband and I, we actually grew this marriage, which is a long distance relationship, even while I was pursuing my career, even while I was pursuing a PhD. The relationship, in fact, blossomed. And even now, I'm putting all my attention, right? My heart is in my business, but at the same time, the relationship it can't get better, right? It's just getting better and better every day. And so here in this video, I want to share with you how to navigate both. And the reason why I wanted to speak on this especially is also because when it comes to balancing your career and in your love life, many people think that it's about time management. But the truth is it can't be further from the truth. Because the truth is that if you are thinking that it's all about time management, the thing is that you will always be feeling like you need to rush for one thing to another. Like, okay, I give 1 hour for my relationship for today. That means that tomorrow I won't have time for it, or whatever that may be, right? You may be thinking that you need to rush somewhere in order to excel, whether that's in your relationship. Like, you think that everything is just like taking your and sucking your time away. And the thing is that it only keeps us in a state of lack, in a state of like, oh, so many things are like they are consuming my time or consuming my energy. But the truth, my love, is that actually both your relationships and your career, they are not about how much quantity that you give. It's not about the quantity of time. It's more so about the quality of your relationship, quality of your career. And when it comes to having a quality relationship, something that I have seen that is so important when it comes to having a relationship that is supportive you, right? That is a quality relationship that is supportive toward your career goals is the aspect of having similar values. So the value system, whether you and him have similar values, whether his values, the things that he really believes in, is the same as you do, which is the reason why whenever you get into a relationship, it's more than just chemistry that matters. It's the thing that determines whether you guys are going to work out long term or not is your value alignment. Because the thing is that if your values are not aligned, what ends up happening is that anytime you take your time into your career, your partner will think that you are taking time away from them, right? So instead of your career and relationship both working toward each other, it almost feels like they're a competition. One is competing against the other. So let's say, for instance, you believe in your value is beauty. Your value system is that you love fashion, you love makeup, you love beauty. But then let's say he doesn't believe in it, right? He thinks that it's a waste of time, a waste of effort. Then what ends up happening is that maybe you have this vision of building a fashion company or a makeup product or whatever that may be. What ends up happening is that the person thinks that the person will somehow, it will feel like there is a block between them and them fully supporting you, meaning something is like holding them back from fully supporting you, right? And at the same time, you feel not fully supported by them. And the thing is, it all comes down to value, the fact that there is a misalignment in value. And the same thing, maybe he believes in investing in real estate, and his value system is investing, right? It's about like compounding growth. And at the same time, maybe the little risk taking, that is his values. But if you are more traditional and you're not about like taking risk at all, what will end up happening is that anytime he puts time or effort or money into that aspect of his career, you will end up feeling a form of a resentment, feeling a form of like they don't fully love you, or they don't fully see the same thing as you, right? So there's going to be tension of some sort in the relationships, which is why when it comes to balancing the career and relationships, it's not about figuring out how much time you need to give. It's more about assessing the quality of a career or assessing the quality of a relationship, whether they align with each other. And what happens is that whenever your values and his values are the same, instead of feeling like the career is competing against your relationship, what ends up happening is that you guys feel like you are on a similar mission. You guys feel like it's a teamwork, moving toward the same goals, moving towards the same values, the same thing. And so anytime that you put your time into a career, it also feels like you're putting time in your relationship, right? So it's almost like you're hitting two birds with one stone. You're improving both at the same time. And in fact, this is how I feel right now, like with my husband. We both have the similar values that are like entrepreneurial and progress, consistency, wisdom. He's very, very, very vocal about it. The fact that that is like his values. And luckily, whenever we were dating, it turns out it was also very similar to mine. And so that's how we knew that in the long run, we can totally make this thing work, because we have similar values, similar value systems, similar beliefs, similar mission, right? So like when I am putting effort into my business, in fact, he is supporting me. And it also feels exciting for him too, because that is also what he truly believes in, right? So that's one of the most important things when it comes to balancing your career versus a relationship. And the next thing is that what you want to understand is that the truth is that you are actually, it's not about balancing your career versus a relationship. It's about learning how to connect with a person. So it's not about balancing. The truth is that what you're looking for is how to connect with a person, how to couple with a person. So what I mean by that is that the truth is that every healthy relationship has some time coupling as well as some time uncoupling, right? There are some times when you guys spend each other time together. Maybe you guys are watching TV, or maybe you guys have a date night. There are times when you couple, but at the same time, a healthy relationship needs some space too, a healthy space. So there are also times when you uncouple, whenever you're putting time into your hobbies, your interests, your career, and a healthy relationship requires both. But, however, whenever we have attachment issues, right, what ends up happening is that we feel like uncoupling is unsafe. So you may feel that anytime you're taking space, you may feel a disconnect with him. You feel like he doesn't love you as much if he is not consistently texting to you. You may feel like he doesn't love you if he is, working 8 hours or 10 hours in today, right? If there is a part of you that feels discomfort around the fact that like there is some space in between you and him, what's going to happen is that anytime they or you, anytime one of you puts time into your career, it's going to feel like, again, the career is like competing against your love life. And that is what we do not want. And at the same time, whenever you guys are connecting, it's important that one or the other partner, right, it doesn't create this space of overwhelm. So usually what ends up happening is that for people with avoidant attachment style, people who are avoidant, anytime that you guys are connecting, there is a sense of an overwhelm. Like it's getting too much and you need some space. And then the other person, who is usually the anxious attachment one, feels like, oh, you want to hang out with him 24/7. You need to be with him 24/7, because if you are not with him 24/7, then you're not going to feel loved, right? So there is a disconnect between you, where one person is, anytime you guys are connecting, one person feels needy and the other person feels overwhelmed by it, right? And then when there is a space happening, one person feels a relief while the other person feels a disconnect. So the thing is, if you find that your relationship patterns are like repeating in this cycle, where anytime you connect, one person feels overwhelmed after a certain point, and then the other person needs them more, and then whenever you disconnect, one other person feels like, oh, they don't love you anymore, and then the other person feels a relief. What is actually happening is that it's not about time management. What's actually happening, the root cause of the root cause for the conflict here is your attachment style. So we want to, instead of trying to manage this time and trying to manage how much time you need to give into your relationship, it's more about learning to have a healthy connection, learning to have a healthy way of going about your relationship. So learning to have both. So we want to have both. We want both the time to connect, and we want both a time for space as well. And whenever you're having space with them, you want to feel comfortable with it. You want to feel like a sense of safety, a sense of love, even when he is not there right next to you 24/7. We want to feel a sense of safety, a sense of wholeness, a sense of peace. And until you have them, what will end up happening is that anytime the person takes time away from you, you're going to feel like their career is taking up them more than you. And so you will, no matter how many relationships, no matter whom you try to date, it will always feel like you have to like be there with them 24/7, or else you're not going to feel loved, and it's going to feel like you have to sacrifice either your career or your interests, your hobbies. You lose yourself into a relationship, and this is why we lose ourselves in the relationship, because we do not know how to have healthy space, how to have a healthy uncoupling way in a relationship. And lastly, when it comes to balancing your career and your relationships, what you also want to realize is that we want to focus on you. We want you to be the product of it. We want you to be the one who is receiving from both sides, both aspects of your life. So what I mean by that is, when it comes to imbalanced relationship, right? The relationships where you feel like you have to sacrifice this or that. What the reason for this is because you end up giving away, right? You end up making either your relationship or your career the universe. So instead of focusing on you focus on the relationship, or you focus on the career. So let's say, for instance, for women who focus on their relationship, they think that the relationship is the entire thing. Like, the relationship is the entire world, right? The relationship is the thing that gives you happiness, rather than you being the one who creates happiness, who gives you happiness, who creates happiness. So whenever we pedestalize a relationship and you think that that relationship is the key to every happiness in your life, what ends up happening is that we end up creating pressure on the other person. We end up creating pressure on your significant other. And then anytime that they cannot fulfill that need, you end up feeling disappointed. That's when conflicts happen in a relationship, right? That's when you feel like your needs are not met, you're not fully seen, you're not fully heard, you're not fully loved. And why does this happen? It's because you're putting the relationship on a pedestal. You're putting the relationship as the center of your life, the center of your universe, instead of putting you in the center. And at the same time, very similarly, some women, they end up focusing on the career is the universe of everything. And so we end up sacrificing everything else. You think that the career, the money, the achievements are the source of your happiness, when the truth is you are the product, right? You are the main thing. That's the most important. It's not the external thing outside of you. If you are thinking that that external thing is the most important, what ends up happening is that we sacrifice everything else in our life just to get that going. And this is the common pitfall, right? The common reason for why many women end up feeling like you give up everything else for this relationship, or you give up everything else for this career. This is the reason why, is that you lose focus on you. So whenever you're focusing on you, what do we mean by that? It means that whenever you are happy, you are fulfilled, right? Whenever you're in overflow, then you can give to every area of your life. That means you can overflow your sense of happiness, your sense of satisfaction. You can share that in a relationship to the person that you're in a relationship. And at the same time, you can also bring that out to your career. So maybe you can overflow that to your clients, to your customers, to your coworkers, right? To the products that you create, whatever that may be. You have more energy, you have more excitement, you have more creativity. You are in a surplus of everything because you are focusing on you, the center of the universe, right? You are the center of the universe. You are focused, you are tapped into how you feel rather than thinking that this particular relationship or this particular career, right? This thing is the end of it's the entire universe. Rather than that, you're more connected to yourself. And when you're more connected to yourself, then only then when you are connected to yourself, when you are tapped into seeing whether something is fulfilling you or not, and then what happens is that you also are more connected to whether a relationship is actually aligned to you, right? You're able to discern more. You have a better way of discernment. You are more connected to yourself, and therefore you also know like what are the career opportunities that light you up, what are the business ventures that actually light you up. Whenever you're connected to yourself, you are able to discern whether something is right for you or not, which is the reason why, my love, when it comes to balancing your career versus the relationship, it is not about choosing one or the other, because as long as you think that you have to choose one or the other, you're going to end up sacrificing yourself. And the most important key is to realize that the key to excelling in both is about you. It's about knowing what actually fulfillment looks like to you, and you being fulfilled, you being at peace. And my love, that is the greatest asset ever. Whenever you put your happiness, you put your fulfillment first, only then you can overflow to any area in your life. And at the same time, they help each other, because when a relationship quality is good, then you also get your happiness, right? Your satisfaction, your quality of life improves. And when your quality of life improves, your career also succeeds. And this is how it becomes, rather than a transactional relationship, it becomes a symbiotic relationship where one helps the other. So a happy relationship ends up helping your career, and your career also ends up improving your relationships. And with that being said, I hope you enjoy this video, and if you desire deeper support in terms of this, you can click to the link in the description box where you receive a free intro session and see if personalized support from me is the right fit for you. Much love, my dear.